Today on Criminal Minds, we talk about how to officially cut off a relationship. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody. Yes, welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV. We are here doing the Criminal Minds After Show, Season 12, Episode 12, A Good Husband. A lot of good things about this, or really bad mutilated things, but we'll get into it. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at SeraphiniTV, and you can follow my co-host.
I'm Michelle Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And Chris Howard. Find me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram. And did you say cut off a relationship?
Yeah.
I think there was a pun there.
We started off really dark already with this after show. But all thanks to you, Chris. Thank you very much for that.
No, that was you. That was all you. You're the one that said it.
Yes, but all right. A Good Husband. What were your quick thoughts of this episode? Michelle, let's start with you.
It's hard to remember how the beginning started because by the end I was a little unimpressed by it.
Unimpressed? In what ways were you unimpressed?
The quality of the acting of the main couple distracted from the storyline.
Agreed.
That's how I feel.
Okay. Is that the only thing that left you unsatisfied?
I was hoping there would be a little bit more to do with Spencer because it is like a 3-part arc to his character, and while there were minor key integral moments for him, it was at the beginning and the end, so it was kind of
bookendish.
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay.
Like, by the way, something happened last week and something's coming next week.
Okay. So they didn't delve too much into when you were expecting it to.
A little bit more, yeah.
And next week we'll get that, though.
Next
Chris,
week
how about
looks
you?
really good, yeah.
Yes, it does. Chris, how about you?
I was glad to see Spencer back. He adds a whole new texture to the show. You know, I don't know. I'm watching the thing. I see a partial body, a torso. It's, you know, thrown away, and what I thought was interesting was they were talking about, wow, maybe it could be the same killer from DC, but doesn't everybody know that you're supposed to chop the bodies up and dispose of them so they can't tell?
I don't think everybody.
I thought everybody knew that.
You think?
I don't know.
But,
you would, wouldn't you?
You have to get 12 seasons in to actually finally know that.
I mean, if you watch Dexter, that makes sense.
Standard fare.
Standard.
Yeah.
That's like prerequisite.
You're right. You got to bleach. You get
Really?
and drop the parts in acid. I thought we knew this. I thought
Some people don't.
Okay, so they're still finding out.
We're informing people how.
Got it. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and it was good to see Spencer back too. His neat character that he adds to it.
Yeah, it was nice to see Reed finally back, although he still does seem really distracted, obviously, because his mom is still back home with him. But I like how Prentiss was like really compassionate towards him. What were your thoughts of Prentiss and the whole Reed situation, really?
Situation.
I appreciated it. She's a different type of leader than Hotch was. She's more of a mother hen. Which I can't take full credit for calling her that because I did read someone else's review before this to kind of compare notes in my head, and they said mother hen, and I was like, yeah,
So
that makes sense. I borrowed it.
No,
I'm
you
giving
stole
credit.
it.
I'm giving credit right now. You can't steal
Okay.
it. Give credit. I'm citing it. Buddy TV, thank you.
But that's the best. Yeah, thank you, Buddy TV. But that's the best word to describe her.
It's so accurate. She's a mother hen. She cares for everyone on her team, both in the field and in their personal life, and wants them to be their 100% best because that's how they function 100% as a team.
Yes.
Different leadership style.
Yeah.
You know, I know that you're a big fan of Prentiss. You love her so much.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, but I don't know that I have that much to say about the character in regards to this. I appreciate the fact that she cares about Spencer's well-being, saying, "Hey, take more time off if you need that time off. Get your head in the right place." But that's really what you need to do if you want them functioning optimally. So back to you. She's a good mother hen.
Absolutely. I like she brings the nurturing side that I feel women and some men, but like mostly women will bring that nurturing, softer, compassionate side.
Like Donald Trump.
She definitely no.
No.
Why do you have to bring politics into this?
Oh, sorry.
No.
That's
A more
Moving on.
a more obvious form of compassion, though.
Exactly.
Instead of subtle.
Well, the thing is, like, yeah, she's a complete contrast to Hotch, but I think that's also why they worked so well together because Hotch was pretty stoic for the most part.
Yes.
He hardly showed emotion, whereas Emily's emotion left and right, which I think sometimes actually helps because I feel a lot of people are, driven by emotion to help
They're showing
maybe solve their
she's
issues.
playing a good, strong female character and a good, strong female role model. She's demonstrating it well, because oftentimes when we think about emotion being present in a situation like that or in crises, we don't necessarily get the best role models. We don't have anything to look toward and go, boy, that's something that we could strive toward. But she does it really well. She
Yeah.
plays it well.
And she does it great, and I love how she even allows Reed to take more time off. And even at the end of the episode, not to jump too far ahead, but at the end when he's like, I'm going to take a few more days off to leave again, I was like, oh no, he's leaving again, but we see the whole preview for next week's episode. I was like, no, he's still around, so.
Kind of.
But it's going to be an intense episode.
That looked good. I mean, that looked
did.
really,
It
really
did.
good.
Next Wednesday.
But
man.
that's next week. This week,
This week.
A Good Husband. Let's talk about this case: dismemberment of bodies. We find the first one in a dumpster, no less. Head chopped off. That gets the whole ball rolling. But we find out the first victim is Paul Mastriano, 28-year-old realtor. But what did you think of we've seen so many deaths on this show, but now actual mutilation of bodies being dumped in public locations?
I thought it was interesting. It's not unique in that it's never been done before, but it's never specifically just been the torso that's left. And we never got resolution on what happens to the rest of the body parts.
Yeah, that's true. Like, did we find the
Where,
head?
where did he
Right.
put them? Where did they go?
That's true.
I don't think that's
Very
really.
true. They were saying maybe he buried them in the desert, like these 1 foot shallow graves.
It's easier to dig 5 1-foot holes than 1 5-foot hole.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to do too much.
So the rest of the bodies are in the desert.
They just didn't look for them in this episode.
Well,
we don't need them.
You ID'd them.
We got them
babe.
ID'd, yeah.
The big chunk of the body, you got that part, I
Right.
guess. So,
yeah,
like,
you can ID the body, right? Just on the torso.
Oh yeah, well they
Apparently,
did.
you can.
Yeah, they were.
Because one body had an ICM, which was the internal cardiac monitor, and then another had a distinct birthmark. So, like,
Yeah.
apparently, you can ID bodies just on
Right.
small amount of parts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, I thought it was neat. And then what I liked was because I was getting into the thought process. Now I was trying to put myself to be like Marisa when I grow up, maybe. But so the first torso they find in the garbage can. The second torso is more in the street. It's like he's getting bolder. It's either an accelerant where they're accelerating, or they perhaps got interrupted in the process. It was kind of neat to see how the conclusions were drawn each stage. And what I thought was fun was the fact that after having watched the show a little bit, I'm kind of drawing the same conclusions. I'm going, okay, what's that mean? What's that mean there? Okay, now the body's more public. What's that mean? So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, we're like, what's the similarities between each victim? Hence the whole victimology. Because we
Right.
find the second body was also dumped 10 blocks away from the original one, so it's in the same area vicinity. And then the second one was also exsanguination, so literally blood of its body, but also they were alive while they were being mutilated.
That
So
was different, yeah.
That's a whole different level. That's more extreme.
Now,
so
did you know that they were going to say?
profile.
Did you know that there was drugs involved the moment you heard that?
No.
Oh, I did. See.
See?
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Fair
so
enough.
maybe I'm surpassing you a little bit.
Maybe I just didn't think roofies. Roofies are not.
Oh,
at
you
the top
think
of my
you think
list.
they're in my list, not yours? I see.
Yeah.
No, but good on you for figuring that out.
Yeah, thank you.
It reminded
you
me
go.
of Frank, who haunted Gideon.
Yes.
Because didn't he paralyze his victims so that he could chop them up alive?
How did he do?
he did.
Did he do it with drugs or did he do it with?
He did it with an
Cutting it.
injection. He had a needle cocktail. So
Right.
yeah, kind of like roofies, just
Right.
Yeah.
into the skin.
But pretty much, roofies were the way that this unsub can control his victims, because we also learned from the profile that he's not a physically opposing person, so
Right.
he doesn't really have the build or stature to handle his own victims.
What's crazy is how simple it is once you have somebody drugged to just do whatever you want. I
It's
mean,
terrifying.
At
yeah,
will.
I would think that. I mean, I guess I could be wrong, but when you cut off a limb, that would be so shocking that it might shock the drug out of you. But apparently, you got to know your drugs. Pretty. I mean, that's scary because that could be anybody. That doesn't take a strong person or a big burly person. I mean, you could be doing it.
I could, but
But
I'm not, so I'm not doing it.
So you say.
So I say, you guys don't know my personal life. All right, but The victim number 3, we also get, there was a lot of victims in this, in the show. Dale Erickson, who now we find out that this man is gay. So he's attacking the gay community. But we also talked to Dale's actual sister and learn more about him. But this is what I actually really did enjoy about the show. Once they're breaking it down and we realize that it's the gay community that's getting terrorized right now more so. But what did you think of Prentiss and Reed's conversation with the sister about Dale and his...
I'm trying to remember that conversation.
Yeah. What was more so like he was not killed because he was gay. He was killed because of this unsub.
Right. She thought that he was, right?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
I loved how it didn't elevate to this isn't a hate crime in the community.
Yeah.
This is just a person who's also gay affecting
But
his own people.
he was going after people that were breaking up or in the midst of a breakup, it seemed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Emotional turmoil.
Emotional turmoil, yes.
Yes. But what were your thoughts, Michelle?
I thought it was interesting because the initial connection that they were grasping at was the level of intoxication. Both victims were found outside of a bar or establishment where they were drinking a lot. And then you had the cutaway to the unsub who was drinking at home, and he was clearly a social drinker. He was drinking throughout the entire episode. But that wasn't the primary drive behind it, which was kind of an interesting development. Like that felt very realistic in terms of the process of development. And then when you got to Dale, who happened to be gay, that still wasn't part of the primary profile. Thank you.
Yes.
I got there. I thanked my own brain too.
Words are hard.
Words are hard sometimes. So that wasn't part of the primary profile. So that was kind of two things that you might assume as a viewer or an amateur detective, wannabe detective, we're like, yeah, it's the alcohol and it's the fact that they're gay, and it's like, nope, it's just a psycho who's really possessive and had a weird upbringing.
Yes, I think it was handled tastefully, though.
It was
especially for the gay community who actually do watch this show.
Yeah,
and they pretty made it clear cut. This is not a diss towards the gay community. This is just our unsub who's attacking his own type of people.
Yeah, it never felt like it was...
Well, the first two victims weren't gay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it didn't have anything to do with that. It's just, which was kind of interesting. I love how it gets narrower and narrower, the similarities between who they are until you find it. And it's like, okay, that's the pattern. You know?
Yeah, and we also learned that the first two were pretty much victims of opportunity.
Yeah.
And then now, with the third and fourth victim, they were more controlled, more...
I think it was just kind of right place, right time. That's what they were still. It was still opportunity.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time.
Them.
Yeah. Because it was still opportunity. He just happened to find, Bill was his boyfriend, right? So you happened to find Bill speaking with the
Unsub?
The unsub. No, the special forces person.
Okay.
So they just happened to find him there, and then he took him and killed him. And the other guy was just happened to be one of their friends who was talking about his breakup. So it's like, okay, let's go for a walk. I'll kill you.
Yes, the fourth victim was Wesley Parham.
Yeah, Wesley.
Yep.
Special forces. Honorably discharged. So again, another person who did not deserve this. Completely, seemingly innocent.
He played his role well.
He did very well. I really liked his character.
Good-looking guy. I mean, he looked good with that beret. And,
I think it was Bill. What is Kyle? Was his name Kyle?
Mark and Bill.
I don't know why I always thought I've looked him up 3 times and I keep thinking it's Kyle. So Mark and Bill are married, but then Bill leaves and moves into a single room, and I feel like that caused the 2 random killings at the beginning, where it was he saw some aspects of what he was going through in those 2 victims of opportunity, and then it became more Bill was reaching back out to his friends.
So he couldn't control him in that situation, so he'd control...
He controlled the situation, but then Bill was gaining his confidence and independence back and starting to reach out to his old friends that he had completely been cut off from.
Right.
And so...
That apparently Mark purposely cut his friends off.
Mark cut him off from
Bill.
Everyone.
Everybody got cut off.
And so he was reaching back out to them. So Dale was a little more opportunistic, but still within that group and still barking up the wrong tree of, hey, I got dumped too. We should really hang out together. And it's like, no, he doesn't want that at all. You should run away. And then Wes, because...
Poor Wes.
Yeah, poor Wes.
He, like, seriously, he was just having an innocent conversation.
Wes must be my favorite extra
Bill.
character
I know.
in this episode.
And for the short amount of time he was on screen, we're like, oh no, he's the next one to go.
Yeah. He looked like a cool guy.
Yeah.
did.
If I was a girl, I'd think he was sexy.
But obviously he was the next victim to be literally chopped into pieces. As terrible as that sounds, that's what happened on the show.
Yep.
But let's talk about the Unsub, Mark Tolson. But I loved how with every victim we learned more about the Unsub, that with the killings and dismemberment of these bodies and disposing of the victims in his own home area, that he's skilled enough to know all these
So
things.
he dismembered them and he disposed them. We can just say he dissed these people.
Yeah. Marital dissed these people. Hunt, skill, dismember, and dispose.
Oh, look at that.
That's what they said. But yeah, what did you think of Mark and Bill's relationship, seeing it on screen, though? Michelle, you're shaking your head.
I'm just shaking my head.
Why are you shaking your head?
No, it didn't feel like anything beyond surface acting.
Did you feel like authentic? No?
Nope.
No?
Nope. I realize this is a really brutal review from someone who doesn't act that much anymore, but no, not feeling it.
At least
Okay.
you act like you don't act that much anymore. This could be an act.
This could be an act.
Did you believe Mark as the overprotective, more paranoid type of husband towards Bill? Did you get that, at least?
Sort of. I don't know.
It wasn't the script. The script was well
No,
written.
it was a wonderfully written episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of feel sorry for the actors because you're outing them you're outing them, but in a different way. You're like, it wasn't so good,
Mm-hmm.
They're probably somebody's family or something. We got to be cautious with this.
Yeah, Christy.
Because there's no point in bashing someone's ability to do something that I can't do and that I haven't done
Right.
before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they weren't terrible. I just didn't buy the relationship.
Oh, come on. You just
Right,
backed
fair
out of what you said. They were terrible. You thought they were terrible, didn't you?
I thought that they did not portray the roles well.
Okay.
Fair enough. Chris, do you believe that?
I thought they
Do you
did.
feel the same way?
Yeah. But I mean, I don't come on here to bash people, but yeah, no, I agree with that.
Right.
So it's, oh well. There's so many. I just figure there's so many people looking to act and stuff, and God bless them getting out there and doing the dream and living it, and and so everybody's got to have their first time.
For acting.
For acting, yes.
For acting. I mean, I believed it enough to know that these two, maybe they're not supposed to be together, and I think that's the whole point of the
Yeah.
story,
Right.
that you
Oh,
can,
yeah.
it's like, these two don't fit together, only because Mark seemed too paranoid, like, over Bill's life.
But that's
Like,
supposed to be the whole thing. That's the whole.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
supposed
Like,
to be over.
He literally didn't let him breathe, as per Bill said. It's like, you cut me off from my own friends. You won't even let me go to the bathroom without questioning where I'm going. Like, he's too controlling
Yeah.
and too protective.
See, but that's pretty much normal in a relationship, though, isn't it?
No.
Oh,
Are you being facetious?
I was being facetious.
No. That's not what a normal relationship. There should be trust there, and it shows that Mark does not trust Bill, and whatever he does.
Yeah.
So it was probably Bill's fault.
Yeah. So we also learned that these victims, all the dismembered bodies, are surrogates for Bill, and that they're all. For the first two were blonde and had pretty much the physique as Bill, but then it became just Mark escalated, and it became victims of actual outrage and more controlled violence.
Right. Yeah, it's just fascinating how the psyche works. That they'll actually have a surrogate and play that out in that way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of episodes with surrogates.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
Like a lot of the victims play the surrogate roles, which it's still very interesting. Agreed. Okay, so the profile. So we find out that this is all a kill fantasy. I didn't expect that, honestly.
No, me either. Kill fantasy. No, I saw the control. I saw the acting out in a way that was tempered inside his relationship, that he couldn't quite act out to the extreme, and so you go act out someplace else. I got that, but the kill fantasy I didn't get It didn't. There was a
Yeah.
disconnect.
Yeah, we should have figured it out. Now that, in retrospect, we should have probably figured it was a kill fantasy, because these victims are surrogates for Bill. So Mark essentially is killing these victims as a fantasy of actually killing Bill. So hence your kill fantasy.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it augments like that regularly, like when they find these things where they have a surrogate and they go out and they off like 6 people or 7 people, and then they finally come back to the one that they love and take
The one
them
that
out.
they actually wanted.
I wonder
in
if
the
that's a
beginning.
common pattern.
Sometimes
It is.
Yeah.
They've done that before on the show.
No, I mean in real life.
I'd imagine it is. They had to pull it
Probably.
from something.
Yeah.
Inspiration from real life stories.
There you go.
And we also do know that there are actual true FBI informants on the show used as personal references
Oh, I
to
thought you
make
meant
sure
on
things
this.
are
I thought you meant on this panel.
accurate. No. Not in this panel. My mind is. But yes, and also the dumping of these victims in public sites shows that this is actually purposely gaining attention and fear from the original person. Mark wanted to bring attention and fear towards Bill, so Bill can come back home, still be under Mark's wing.
That seemed a little far stretched for me, that he was trying to scare him with killings to come back to him.
That doesn't to me.
It doesn't to you?
No?
No, that if he is killing people in the community they frequent and he wants to remain secret, like he doesn't want people to know he's the killer, but he wants to get his husband back. Like having his husband's friends die is a pretty good way, like theoretically, for him to crawl back to his husband, the person who's supposed to be his comforting rock, who knows him really well, and be like, oh my god, what is happening? Will you just hold me?
Yes.
Like theoretically, that's probably what he was thinking would happen in his
It's
mind.
like going to a
and
scary
then,
movie and you cuddle a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but Bill, maybe that's why it was off-putting to me, because like, Mark is supposed to be the dominant, and Bill was completely under his
Spell.
Submissive.
was completely submissive, and we're seeing their relationship at a point where it's kind of falling apart, and Bill is regaining some of his independence, and there's supposed to be love there, but not as much, and it was a lot of confusing things to probably translate on the screen, and I didn't get all of them, so maybe that's why I'm not feeling their relationship, thinking about that more now. But yeah, in my head that makes total sense, that he would think, hey, I'm gonna kill his friends, and then he's gonna come running back to me because he's a crazy person.
He is. That's how his mind
tries
works.
to control the situation.
Yeah. Because I watched this episode twice, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty smart, though. Like, gain the attention and fear from just the community, and, you get that public word out, and you're just going to want to stay home or stay in a safe location, and that's what Mark was trying to do.
Yep.
Be like, you're safe with me, try to get his own husband back.
And see,
I didn't
on
see
our
that
level,
the first time.
on our level, how we could apply that is like maybe not go kill people, but maybe like kill their pets or something like that if we wanted to control the relationship.
It's terrible.
Isn't that like the first
I'm sorry,
sign of serial killers?
Yeah, it
killing
is,
animals?
yes, killing
Yes,
animals. See, we
it's
know
very
this
true.
stuff now.
Chris,
We've
I
seen
worry
enough of
about
this.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody has to.
But of course, we have Penelope. We have Garcia filling in all the gaps that we need. And
She looked horrified when she talked about that.
Oh yeah, even at the beginning of the episode, she's like, "This is not a good case. There's nothing good about this case." So like, you already know this is a very intense case. But of course, she fills in the blanks, and we learn that Mark, as a child, his parents broke up when he was 6, and his dad took him to butcher shops, where at a young age, Mark was already trained to butcher up animals and dead meat.
I'm surprised that they found that information just out there. Like, how would they know that he was hacking up meat? I'm sure that they could find the information that he was at a butcher shop, but the fact that he was having to hack up meat while his father was drunk or something.
Didn't she pull up a news story with a picture of the thing?
Yeah, she did.
Is that what it was?
I think
did.
that might have been it.
Huh.
Like, small town news.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. But even at a young age, Mark was already trained to. It has that butcher
Lack of emotion.
behavior
Kinda,
Yeah.
instilled upon him.
Yeah.
And we find out that he's a mix of Gacy and Dahmer combined.
That's what they said.
Terrible. That's a horrible mix.
That is. Ugh.
Jeffrey Dahmer and the serial Killer Gacy, if you guys don't know, he was known for
He was the
raping.
clown, right?
Yeah, he was a clown, and he raped over 30 teenage boys.
Wow.
So, a mix. So this victim, this unsub, Mark Tolson, was a mix of both of those two.
That's kind of a stretch, though,
It's
because
not good.
like Dahmer was pouring acid in their brains and stuff like that, and drilling holes in their heads.
Dahmer was messed up.
I think,
Yeah,
it's
he was a bit less of Dahmer because again,
Yeah.
they speculated that he buried the other body parts, but we don't actually know.
right.
We never went back to it.
Right.
Because what if he is Dahmer and they're just in a fridge somewhere?
Yeah, if he ate them or something, then we'd know.
Then he'd be a mix of Hannibal.
Yeah. No, Dahmer did eat.
Dahmer ate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dahmer did eat a little bit.
Let's not talk about Dahmer and Gacy anymore.
Dahmer is a whole nother show in and of itself.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting, because obviously we get, after Wesley was killed, Mark ultimately gets Bill back home and ties him up and tries to kill him, his own husband. But fortunately, he was saved just in time. And what did you think about this marriage technicality?
Marriage technicality? What do you mean?
So more so, that I have it in my notes. The whole marital privilege, like,
right.
Bill can't say
Like
X, Y, and Z in court.
I didn't know that was the case.
He can and cannot say certain things.
It makes sense to me that you couldn't testify against your spouse pending other charges, but if the charge is against you, if it's domestic abuse or battery or tying you up and about to chop you in a little bit of pieces, you have the right to testify to that.
Yeah. Words spoken between spouses, he can say anything, but he can't say anything that Mark has confessed about the other victims.
Yeah, well, I just find that strange, because I didn't know that was the case. I thought that the spouse could choose not to speak about things if they wanted to, or choose not to testify against their spouse. But that's surprising to me. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I didn't realize that could have been an issue between all of this. I'd be like, yeah, he put his husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, in prison.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting. It comes up on Law & Order SVU all the time, that marital clause, which is why I was a little, like, it made more sense to me quickly because I watched that show religiously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it makes sense. There's nothing poignant about what I just said. But.
So essentially, Bill can say anything to testify against his husband.
He can say anything that happened to him, but he can't talk about any
other spouse,
confessions
the other
of other victims. But he didn't confess to other. Well, I guess he did at the end, didn't he?
Well, he realizes like, oh, you killed everybody.
Yeah.
You killed them all.
Yeah, and there's no answer.
Yeah, but we kind of got the answer. It's
Right.
like, yeah, now I'm gonna kill you too.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I didn't realize that. Maybe I should watch more Law and Order to figure that out. But that's another show too. Go check that out. Yeah. Yes, but what did you think of that? And like, of course, at the end we had Prentiss tell Reed to take more time off. But I think it was a nice conclusion to that brutal, bloody storyline.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't dislike the episode as much as I kind of felt from you guys. I don't know. I didn't dislike it that much. I get the acting thing because that, but I still found the torsos interesting and the escalation interesting and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So and I think what's really exciting is the scenes that we saw from the upcoming episode. That looks incredible.
Yeah, we do. But right before we get to that, of course, the things that I love about this episode, the quotes that we have at the beginning and end of every episode. A good husband makes a good wife.
What?
By John
I get it.
Forio. That was at the beginning.
A good husband makes a good wife.
Mm-hmm. So I think, marital bliss, I guess. Yep. And then at the end is nothing is more sad than the death of an illusion. By Arthur Kessler.
I think that's powerful and especially prevalent in our society right now.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that quote.
I like it.
That is good. What is it again?
Nothing is more sad than the death of an illusion.
See, I think the quotes kind of counterbalance each other. Good husband makes a good wife. Now here's your death of the illusion.
Yep. But they have.
You think that's all it takes?
But it ties to what just happened, though.
Yeah.
Like the death of illusion of a good husband, ex-wife, or wife.
It's all BS.
Yep, and then that, and then even on the Spencer line, him realizing that maybe this was a mistake and he can't fix his mom at home.
Right.
By having her at home.
I think Emily said one of the best things of the whole episode. It's difficult caring for family, but it takes tremendous strength to ask for help.
That's the truest thing ever.
So true. Especially for Reed, who's so smart and thinks he literally knows everything. Yeah, and the fact that he can't fix this and he can't control this situation, I think, kills him.
I like that guy's acting. It's just like I said, it adds depth and texture and richness to the cast, to the ensemble, because he's not harsh. He's just got the softness to him that's kind of neat.
I really enjoy it. So, I mean, overall, maybe the acting wasn't the greatest from the victim / unsub in this episode, but the story was still great.
Yes.
Obviously.
But they got what they deserved in the end, right? They didn't act so well, so they got killed. It's a joke. Sorry.
How many more can you fit in this?
I can only
show?
fit so many jokes in.
No.
No.
To answer the question, no. But real quick before we get to predictions, a little bit of news, just a slight news.
A slate news.
Okay, so we do have a photo. Matthew Gray Googler, I think another reason why he's kind of been missing so much from these last episodes, he's been busy with film because he is actually a film major and he's a director. He's big in the film industry as well. He posted a picture on his Instagram that it says, "I'm in a new film called 68 Kill that's premiering at South by Southwest and it's going to give you rabies." And it's him in a picture with a gun and he's all bloodied up.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Cool.
So,
Are we showing that picture? We're flashing it?
yeah, it should be actually minimized on the desktop there for
Got
you,
it.
Phil. But if you are,
Oh, there it
if
is.
you're on iTunes,
Okay.
you should definitely check us out on YouTube, and you can definitely see the photo that we are talking about. He looks pretty beaten up. We've seen Matthew in
those lips?
better days. Yes,
think
those
they
are
are,
lips
yeah.
on his shirt, but he's all beaten up.
Okay.
It looks like to a bloody pulp, but he's toting a gun. So who knows what this movie is about? But
Interesting.
it is premiering at South by Southwest, and that's also called 68 Kill. So he's
Nice.
busy with movies.
Yeah.
What is South
Other
by
than-
Southwest, by the way? Does anybody know?
It's a big film convention. That
Oh, it's a
happens
convention.
every
Yep.
Okay.
year. They premiere a lot of movies,
Got it.
and yeah, it happens like every
Every
spring.
Yeah.
Every
Interesting.
spring, and in Texas. So go check that out. So he has some things coming up.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's it for my news. Let's get to predictions then.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right. Next week's episode looks like a doozy called Spencer. This is the one we've all been waiting for. And it's also the one that's co-written by Erica Messer and Kirsten Vangsness. What do you think is going to happen?
I couldn't even tell you. He gets arrested, probably en route to Houston.
You think?
Maybe like
you
something
think Reed will
happens while
actually leave?
traveling.
What could happen to drive him to that? Because he looked mentally tormented. He looked like he was disheveled
Yeah.
psychologically. So it was the best upcoming trailer that I've seen yet, I think, for the show.
Yeah, because I feel like if he got arrested around home, he wouldn't be in that type of prison.
Yeah, and he'd have his own BA unit back him up.
Yeah.
And have it solved within an hour.
I think he got arrested in Texas.
Yeah, I think so too. But they also said he looks like he's
Something
in
was off.
jail, and they're
might
calling him a killer.
He might have murdered someone.
Yeah, someone's dead.
They're worried that schizophrenia
Might be passed on
might
to
be
him.
passed on.
Yeah, wasn't he
to
saying
him.
something about I don't know? Yeah, he was saying I don't know
'Cause it
where
doesn't-
I've been or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For once in his life, he doesn't know.
I'm intrigued because I remember reading that Jane Lynch signed on to do about two and a half episodes, and I assumed it would just be this arc of 3, and she wasn't in this one at all. So now I'm interested in what they're going to do with his mom and how that's going to play out in the rest of the season.
Well, what are your thoughts, Chris?
I didn't know Jane Lynch was his mom. That's cool. So that's her that's going to play it?
Yeah, the
Or that's
actor.
playing it? Okay, yeah. No, I think that's cool. I don't know. It just looks exciting. It looks fun. It looks. I like the psychological thriller kind of thing that's happening there. Yeah, so that's neat.
There's always like one episode, at least it seems like one episode per season that like each of the agents are always like they're responsible for a death or something, and they're like, no, we got to clear our own agent. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, I don't think that probably happens in real life like that, but I think it's cool. It adds suspense and yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this, and I wonder if we're going to be more shocked than like scared or sad at the end, because the last episode that Erica and Kirsten did together, Shamar Moore left.
Well, I think it'd be great if they killed him. If they killed him or killed him off, it would be fantastic.
So Reed.
But that's part of what's so cool is when you kill off a major character with it's just
you will lose your show.
It's so unexpected.
Like, I know it's an ensemble piece,
but
like if you kill off Matthew Gray Gubler's character,
people, can you imagine?
Will riot.
I'm voting for it. I'm voting for it.
People would be so incredibly
How dare
lit.
you.
Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine.
But Erica Messer was interviewed back in October about that, and she said, like, she assured people that Reed wasn't leaving, so I'm clinging to that.
Yeah.
I'm just clinging.
I don't think he's gonna die.
No.
He's gonna get in trouble, but he's gonna get cleared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I don't
right,
think
we'll
he's gonna die. I think the mother's gonna die.
That's what I was thinking what happened in his life.
I think, bye, Jane. We'll miss you.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of, to end all of this turmoil that he's having with his mother, she has to die.
Yeah.
She has to die.
She has to die for
Those are the words
for the
of
story
Marisa.
to cap itself off.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
no end to it.
Marisa
other
has
than
said
death.
she has to die.
That's my prediction. The mother
I
will
agree
die.
with that.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in, watching, and listening to us every week. In the meantime, where can everyone keep following?
Find me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV. Keep rating, keep commenting, keep subscribing, keep telling a friend. We love the show and more to come. We have a really intense episode next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.